I'm Javier Hakeem, and this is Harking Back, a podcast about the pop culture of a lifetime. Whose life? Mine. I'm going back through every year I've been alive and finding out what was going on in that year. This year we're looking at 2014. I was 32. When I was 32 in 2014, I remember that Annie and I and a friend, we ran Tough Mudder. Tough Mudder is one of those, obstacle courses in fields for adults who are having pre-midlife crises. Because we thought, maybe we're not fulfilled enough. So I know I'll go out to the country and jump over hay bales and crawl through fields of mud and get electroshocked while I do it. And I'll pay someone 100 quid for the privilege. So we went out there and did it and got shocked and crawled through mud and swam through icy water and crawled under barbed wire to make us feel like we're alive. And Jesus, we felt alive when we had a drink afterwards. Oh my God, that was one of the best beers I've ever had. 2014, I'm a working comedian at this point. And it's just after years of kind of grinding through open spots and audition spots, and you're still doing them, by the way, and doing lots of finding out what gigs I do and don't want to do. I really started feeling for the first time here that I was kind of streamlining into a bit of I think this is okay. I think this is what I want to do, you know? I'm doing comedy clubs, I'm doing magic nights, cabarets. Oh, by the way, those magic nights, being in dressing rooms with other magicians, you find out how a lot of magic tricks are done. And also, comedians can be pricks. Magicians, on the other hand, I've met the nicest people who are magicians, some magicians who are the nicest people, and some magicians who are just the fucking worst. I would turn down a gig if they were on the bill. Oh my God, I don't know if I've talked about it, but when I first moved to London, there was a guy that I met who's from Newcastle. His name's Chris Cross, and he was organising a magic night in London. He was like, you could come and do your card act. And I was like, oh, great. And he had a lot of people on the bill, and it was at Madame Jojo's before it closed down in Soho. And the dressing room is tiny. And so we're all kind of trying to get our things ready and trying to be respectful of each other's space. Like, oh, sorry, do you need that space? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And there was one magician walking around. His name was Ecuador, the magician. I don't know if he's still going. If he is, fuck you, Ecuador. I will say this 14 years after I've worked with you last. He was walking around the dressing room and he just kind of plonks his stuff down. He goes, announces to everyone all right, nobody touch this. This is really important. Okay. It's really delicate. And he starts walking around and looking at other people's props and just going, that looks shit. That looks cheap. That's going to break. I can see how that's done. Right. And I'm like, who is this guy? But I don't want to make a scene because I've just got to the country and I've been invited by this guy and I don't know if they're friends. Anyway. So he's just a dick, a real dick. And then I do my act. I do my card ninja act. And when I get off, he goes, hey, your act. It wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be. And I just kind of didn't say anything. I was like, okay, well, let's see what you got. This guy came out to rock and roll music. And it was like a sketch. He sprinkled glitter in the air and started going, yeah! Then he made a cane appear, which you can buy. You too can do this illusion if you have 7 quid. And then his big finale, this sort of crappy shit, pulling out handkerchiefs and kind of looking at he was like a comedy magician, but for real, sincere. And his big finale was he stripped down to his undies, and then he had about 5 different pairs of undies on that he'd strip off, and the final pair had an elephant's trunk on them. And that was it. That was his act. I hate this guy. Anyway, what was I saying? I got on a tangent. I hate this guy. So yeah, some magicians are just being the worst. But most of them are lovely, lovely people. Most of them. I do remember this year I had a meeting with my agent, organized a meeting with the people that run Disney cruises. And they were thinking maybe your card act could work on a Disney cruise, but these people want to meet you. So they sent some videos of stuff I'd done, and we sat down with them, and they kept wanting to change my act. They kept going okay, card ninja. It was I was a first point for them, and they could just kind of do whatever they wanted. And they keep kind of saying like, "Oh, well, you should be doing this," and I'd say like, "Oh, actually, no, I don't do that because the act is actually about building a rapport with the audience, and it's actually not about the spectacle of throwing the cards. It's actually about being playful with the audience and actually following an underdog story." Like, no, what you need is explosions, and you know what you should do? You should come out and do your best tricks first to get the audience's attention. I'm like, no, the show's actually about a build up to a crescendo. So by the time we get there, the whole audience is on board, with my journey, because we all start, and I especially start as a no one. But then through the hard work and story, that no, you should do explosions and smoke and flips and just blow your load in the first 5 minutes. And they're just not listening to me. And they just keep wanting to, like, how can we make the show bigger and brighter? And I'm hating these guys. I'm hating them. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing a fucking cruise. This all sounds terrible. And it gets to the point where at the end, they can't even tell how pissed off I am. And they're just trying to make it like, oh, what could we do to make you... They go, your costume, like, you're just wearing black. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like the traditional... They go, how could we, could we jazz this up a little bit? And I said in the meeting, really sarcastically, I said, hey, you know what? What if I just wore a big, sparkly, colourful kimono with a dragon on it? I said it like that. And my agent shoots me this look of like, shut the fuck up. And they didn't even hear my sarcasm. They honestly went, yeah, that's a really good idea. Needless to say, I did not do any Disney cruises. Did not. And that's one of the worst meetings I've ever had. Can you tell I wasn't... This podcast has started off with a lot of hate. Sorry, let's change things up. 2014, what's happening in 2014? Let me take you back. 2014 is the year that the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is going everywhere. Everyone just spent the year pouring buckets of ice water over themselves and giving to ALS, but mainly just pouring the ice buckets and posting it on social media. This was also the year, I don't know if you remember, there was a criminal caught in the US, and his mugshot went viral because he looked like a model in his mugshot. He had like tattoos and like these kind of grey blue eyes, and pretty much everyone on the planet just went, oh, he's too cute to be a criminal. I think he got given a modelling contract, as the story goes. If you remember, you remember. Anyway, if someone asks me, I'll put it on the Discord. If you're familiar with the Kermit the Frog sipping tea meme, that comes from this year. Also in 2014, this is the year that I think it's Ellen DeGeneres takes a selfie at the Oscars, and this is the first time you hear about something breaking the internet. And it had like Meryl Streep and Bradley Cooper and Ellen, all these celebrities in a selfie at the Oscars, and it was the first time people were talking, it's broke the internet. It went super viral. Also in 2014, Justin Bieber is arrested for drunk driving in Miami. And I only mention this because in his mugshot, he looks so happy. Like, I don't know if he's still drunk. I think he's probably ecstatic that for once people are treating him like a proper grown-up. Like, he's like, I'm going to be tried as an adult? Awesome. Also in 2014, Conchita Wurst. Who's that? Conchita Wurst is the person that wins Eurovision. It was a bearded drag queen that won Eurovision, and a lot of people lost their shit over this. Come on. A bearded drag queen winning Eurovision is the most Eurovision thing to happen. Eurovision is like the biggest queer event on the planet. After it goes like Eurovision, then Pride, then Kylie Minogue concerts, and then provincial rugby. You know. Anyway, that 2014 was the year that the bearded drag queen. She was wearing a dress. She, the drag queen, is wearing the dress. Thanks. I'm going to get cancelled for that. Also, this is the year that Shia LaBeouf, remember Shia LaBeouf from the Transformers franchise? He goes crazy. And remember he turned up to an event with a bag on his head that says, I'm not famous anymore, which has just got such toddler being told off but still allowed to go to the party energy. Like, they were told off for doing something, and they were like, okay, I'm going to turn up, but I'm going to be a real bitch about it. This year in 2014, Brad and Angelina get married and have as many kids as they can. They have 6. I think they're going for the record. Brad and Angelina were once considered the most desirable people on the planet. All right? This is just what I find weird about celebrities. Okay, Brangelina, most desirable, hottest people on the planet. Brad's been divorced twice. Angelina's been divorced 3. And they've got these... Imagine if this showed up on a dating app. Like, hi, I'm an actor. I've had 3 divorces and I have 6 kids. You'd block and delete them so quickly you'd bruise your thumbs. This is also the Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow have a conscious uncoupling, which means they got divorced. But they called it a conscious uncoupling. Ugh, don't you hate when some people think that they're such alphas and they're like, oh no, I don't actually think about the word failure. I just project positivity and winning. Like they can't even, they're such alphas in their head, they can't even admit when they've had a setback. Like they can't say the word divorce because that sounds too much like a loss. They have to come up with this bullshit term, conscious uncoupling. It's like if 1984 was just stupid, you know? Ugh. God, there's so much hate in this podcast already. Sorry. I'm going to lighten up. I promise. And to lighten it up, Philip Seymour Hoffman dies in 2014. Yes, they find him on the bathroom of his New York City apartment after a heroin overdose. Needles still in his arm. Like, it's so tragic. Like, I'm going to talk about tragedy. Not my tragedy, but at the end of the podcast. But like, Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of the best actors out there, of definitely working at the time. He's top of his game. The guy's got so much acclaim and praise from his peers and critics alike, and he's got a heroin addiction. Clearly, he's living the dream. And even with all that, even with all this, like, I'm living the dream, I've got it all, I've won. Even after all that, he's still like, I've got to have another hit of this shit. I need another hit. I have a constant argument with Annie. And the argument is that it started one day when she was like, what if you found out you had like 3 months to live? And I said, well, I don't know what to do, but one of the things I'd like to do is try heroin. And she was like, how could you say that? Heroin's awful. I'm like, yes, heroin is awful because it fucks up your life because it's so good. That's how good it is. It killed Philip Seymour Hoffman, and that guy had everything. That's how good heroin is. Heroin is so good, it will fuck up people's lives, right? But if you don't have much of a life left, why not try it? What am I going to do? Like, get addicted? Go down a spiral? Like, it's, you know, if you're terminal and you're going to die anyway, I think that's the time to try heroin, because let's face it must be fucking amazing. It must be incredible, all right? It's so good. People throw their lives away just to do more heroin. That's how good it is. All right? When they start going, oh no, I can't go to work, I can't see my kids, I can't carry on my relationship, I must have more heroin because it is so good. Right? Of course, they're addicted at that point. But if you're listening to me right now and going like, I don't know if that sounds kind of bad. Everything that, yes, of course, heroin is bad because we all know it's bad because it's addictive. We're talking about the long-term effects of heroin. All right? If everyone did heroin once and just went, holy shit, that was great, and never touched it again, everyone would be doing it, right? So the argument I have with Annie is her going like, but heroin is so, really? That's what you want to do? You want to get a drug habit? I'm like, no, I don't want to get a drug habit. I just want to experience this thing once that is so good, it ruins people's lives. Do you understand? Let me know in the comments in the Discord if you agree with me or you're like, no, Harv, you shouldn't do it. Let me know. I'm totally open to your opinions, and I want to hear it. Hey, if you're a terminal, let me know if you too would like to try heroin. Or maybe if you're on heroin, let me know if it's a bad idea. I don't know. How did this get to this? Let's keep going. TV comes out in... TV comes out? No, TV came out a long time ago. But some shows on TV, particularly one show on TV I want to talk about that comes out in 2014, is Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. This is like in the vein of like those late night American hosts talk shows where they keep you informed, but they do it. They don't have guests. They not regularly. Anyway, they pick a topic, and they just go in depth into this topic. It is one of the most informative shows I've ever watched. And the thing is, each episode sounds terribly boring. Like they might focus on charter schools or infrastructure or net neutrality. And it sounds awful, but they are presented in such a way that is so interesting and hilarious. And they do such a deep dive that you realize how pervasive each of these things could be, especially if you live in the US, because that's where they tend to center all their things around. And the show is so well researched. They must have an army of investigative journalists on this. It's so worth your time. Most episodes are on YouTube now. Some of them would have been about current events that have been and gone, but for the most part, just pick one up. It's like the most hilarious encyclopedia you'll ever read. They're so good. I can't recommend them enough. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Check it out. Let's look at songs that are happening, the music scene that's happening in 2014. Taylor Swift drops her 1989 album. Not that I knew it at the time, but I now have grown to love some of these songs, mainly through my daughter that asks our smart speaker to play Taylor Swift incessantly, and ABBA, both of those. Oh, sorry, Taylor Swift. The other day she informed me that ABBA has taken over her favorite artist. There you go. 1989 songs, Welcome to New York, Blank Space, Style, I love them all, except Shake It Off. Shake It Off has been played to death. To death for me. And we all know once a song is dead from overplay, it can never come back. It can't. It never can. You will have a song that you once loved, it got played to death, and now you hate it. You can't even listen to it. You can't even think about it. Also in 2014, Mariah drops an album, and it's called... I just love the title of it. It's called Me, I Am Mariah, ... The Elusive Chanteuse, which sounds like someone on shrooms having an existential freak out followed by a bounce back. You know? Me, I am Mariah. I am the elusive chanteuse. Good on you, Mariah. Ariana Grande drops her album, My Everything, which is a big one that year. But Ariana Grande, you need to eat a pie. Eat a pie. Eat something. The Oscars have just been, and it looked like if she'd won one, she wouldn't be able to lift it. Come on, Ariana. Get out there. Eat something. This year, oh my God, in the UK, following the massive success of previously X Factor engineered boy band One Direction, the X Factor UK decided to go all out, and they decided to create a super boy band with not 5, but 8 boys in it. 8. They were treating boy bands like razors in the early 2000s. They just kept going like, should we just add another blade? Just add another one? And they went like, yes, that's great. So they've got 8 boys, and none of them play a musical instrument. They're all young and impressionable and all just want to be part of something. So they lump them all together. And the biggest affront was the name, because they called them Stereo Kicks. That's what they called them, Stereo Kicks. And I was like, are you shitting me? You've got a boy band with 8 members. How could you not call it Broverload? It's right there. Anyway, let's look at the top 5 songs for 2014. At number 5 is Counting Stars by One Republic. UK ads love to use this for footage of people having wholesome fun, and it kind of just ruins that for me. You know when a song is played on an ad and just like, oh, a corporation's using it now. Oh, in the same vein, at number 4 is Fancy by Iggy Azalea. You know that, I'm so fancy, you're ready. That one. That's also used by UK advertisers, particularly like internet providers and or cell phone plan providers. Also kind of a ruin. For a song that's got so much attitude of like, yeah, and now it's like corporations are all over it. At number 3, All of Me by John Legend, and he loves this song. I mean, I like it. It just kind of sounds a little generic. I tell you what gets us through, it's his sincerity. Because the song I don't think is anything super catchy or super original, but his sincerity and the lyrics and the way he sings it, like that's what gets it through. And that's what makes girls go, oh, yeah. At number 2 is Dark Horse by Katy Perry, which I was like, Dark Horse. When I was reaching, I thought, Dark Horse, which one's that? I know a few Katy Perry songs. Which one's that? I went to YouTube and I played it. This song is so boring. It builds to nothing. It builds up to nothing over and over again, like a rave where the bass speaker is broken. It's also got this ancient Egyptian themed music video where she's like the pharaoh and everyone's dressed in ancient Egyptian clothes, which would be lambasted these days for cultural appropriation, which I think is kind of bullshit. Honestly, like maybe 10% of cultural appropriation claims are that. But more often than not, I think when people call something cultural appropriation, what they really mean, it's actually cultural appreciation. Like, I like this thing so much from that culture, I kind of wanted to use it. Is that so bad? Is that really bad? Tell me, again, in the comments. Like, I like that hairstyle. I like that that clothing. I like this song. I like that whatever. I wanted to use it. Not because I wanted to beat down the people that made it, but I like that shit. Right? I like that food. When I eat a taco, is that cultural appropriation? No, I'm Latino. But like if I eat curry, if I like curry, oh God, you can't appropriate your dinner, Harv. Shut up. And at number 1 is Happy by Pharrell Williams, who is just doing so well for essentially 2 years in a row. This song just would not leave. Like the last person at the party you throw, where you're just kind of like yawning and just, okay, it's time to, and they just won't leave. That's the song, Happy by Pharrell Williams. This fucking song. Let's look at games in 2014. This year in 2014, there's just a landslide of video games, of sequels, like the new version of whatever. There's a new Dragon Age, there's a new Wolfenstein, the new Far Cry is out, there's a new Mario Kart, there's a new Dark Souls, there's a new Sims game, there's a new Lego game, and the list goes on and on. And I was looking through it, and I was like, because I didn't play any of those games. And then I remembered, some original titles that are acclaimed and made people stand up and applaud. Things like Shovel Knight and Titanfall and Alien Isolation. And I went, oh, that's right. I actually haven't played any of these. In fact, the more research I did into the games that came out in this year, the more that I realized I hadn't played any of them. And I think this says more about me than the state of games this year. I mean, I thought that it might be because I had a backlog of games I had to get through at the time, but I remember our flat that we were living in, and I don't really remember playing games that much. Like, I still had a Mac, so I hadn't delved back into PC gaming yet, and the 360 was kind of like getting ready to go. Oh God. Are other consoles coming out this year? I will get to that. Probably next time. Oh my God, I think I've missed out something huge, but I'm not going to stop to go research, because I'm not going to do that, because there would be dead space, and that's not how this podcast rolls. This podcast rolls on some research and then me pressing play and just going until we stop. There is no editing in this podcast. I know you're thinking there, yeah, we can tell, Harv. We can tell that there's no editing. We can tell because we can see and hear bits that should have been edited, but you haven't. All right? I tell you, I don't have the time. Just simply don't have the time. You might have noticed there was a couple of weeks gap between this podcast and the one before. I went on family holiday, and when I came back, I just had to catch up on a lot of shit. Just didn't have time. Sorry. Oh shit! You know what I did play in 2014? What I actually remember playing lots of was this Marvel Puzzle Quest, which was a crappy little mobile game. Like, it's like, imagine like Candy Crush, but with a Marvel theme on it. And my friend Gareth introduced me to it, and it was fun at first, and like, oh, that's kind of fun, or collect your things. But then it became that little tick that you do over time. Just when your hands are free, or like when you're waiting in line anywhere, like you just kind of pull it out and play it. And because we didn't have a car yet, I was on trains and buses a lot that year, and this kind of killed Journeys for me. But it was kind of pervasive. It started being too much, Like, after a while, I saw Gareth again, who recommended the game to me, and I asked him how he was getting on with it, because I wanted to compare, have you got these collectibles and stuff like that? And he said, oh, dude, I had to delete it because it was taking over my life. And he was explaining his signs of like when he knew he had to delete it, and I was listening to it and going like, oh, holy shit, this is what you're describing is happening to me right now, and I deleted it. I deleted it, never to be played again, because it took up too much of my time for really nothing. At least other video games, you get a story, you get sense of, progression or completion. This thing just does not end. It's designed to never end. It's designed to never be enough. It's heroin. It's video game heroin. Oh God, I get it now. I see the folly of my ways. However, if I was terminal, I would want to play. No. So I guess, oh God, sadly by default, my game of the year for 2014 is Marvel Puzzle Quest. I'm so sorry. Do not play it. Don't play it. Do not. And that's not the only Marvel like card game puzzle. There's another one called Marvel Snap out there, and I think it's a card game. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, that looks way too close to Marvel Puzzle Quest. Steer clear of that. No, thank you. I mean, Jesus, I I played that? That's what I gave my attention? I should have been playing something less addictive, like Destiny. Let's have a look at movies in 2014. I'll tell you what I didn't play in video games, I made up for with movies this year. Some movies come out in 2014. Let's paint a picture here. Things like Interstellar comes out. It's Christopher Nolan's latest at the time, and we will never get over Matthew McConaughey crying. He cries his ass off in that movie. I don't think I've seen any, like, there are people that cry in movies, and there's Matthew McConaughey giving it everything, y'all. Just giving it, all right. X-Men Days of Future Past comes out. People said it was good. I mean, was it good? Was it good, or did it just seem good compared to other X-Men movies? The RoboCop reboot comes out, and it was a reboot that I really wanted to like. I mean, like, RoboCop with modern technology, fuck yes, let's do it. But it lacked the balls-out zaniness of the original Paul Verhoeven 80s original, which, let's face it, if you are going to have, you need to have some zaniness and just a bit of craziness and lean into that if you're going for a movie with the premises like, hey, he's a cop, but the catch is he's a robot too. You really need to lean in all the way. And I think this RoboCop reboot tried to have one foot in reality, and we all just went, no, this is not going to work. You need to go all the way into the satire. The Imitation Game comes out this year, and it's very good. It's very successful, about the Enigma machine and the scientists that worked on it, including Alan Turing. And I watched it, and it's because of Alan Turing's work where it leads to the Turing machine, which is like the basis of computers. And I remember watching it and telling my dad that I watched it. Did you watch it, Dad? And my dad's worked in computers his whole life, and he was like, yeah, but it made it look like Alan Turing came up with the computer all on his own. This is the thing with biopics. Like, it's a bit of a curse, because if you're a fan of the person the biopic is about, more often than not, it's kind of ruined for you because you know too much about the person, and these biopics always take liberties. Like the Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen one. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I said to Gary, my friend, did you watch it? He was like, yeah, I hated it, because he's a massive Queen fan. And he just kind of listed off the inconsistencies and the flat-out lies in the biopic. And by the end of that, I was like, I think I kind of hate this movie too. So my dad's biggest problem with the Imitation Game was that it made Alan Turing look like he came up with a computer all on his own. And he was like, they didn't. There were so many people involved in that, and they didn't get credit, blah, blah, blah. The movie I didn't enjoy this year was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was the Michael Bay reboot, and I kind of hated it. They just made these turtles, they made the turtles so huge and bulky and strong and overpowered that they're never in danger. Do you remember in the very first Ninja Turtles movie, the live action one, like Raphael gets ambushed by the Foot Clan. Like, not like a boss of the Foot Clan, but just a lot of henchmen. And he gets his ass handed to him. I can't think of another movie where just a bunch of henchmen, no one special, just a bunch of henchmen beat the crap out of the hero. And this made you go like, oh my god, he really needs to be with his brothers. But however, in this one, in the Michael Bay reboot, they are so overpowered. There's a scene where soldiers are shooting at the turtles, and they're like, oh god. And then one of them catches a bullet, and he just kind of brushes it off. And he literally says, oh my god, I'm bulletproof. And I'm like, well, there you go. You're invulnerable now, so what's the fucking point? You are in zero danger now. Boo. Did not like it. The Lego movie comes out this year, and to everyone's shock is actually quite good. It's got a lovely message. It's charming. It's cute. It's funny. It's really funny, and will lead to an awesome Lego Batman spin-off movie later in years to come, which is also very good. I am going to get a different catchphrase other than just saying it's very good. I've got to find a different... Please let me know in the comments of the Discord what I could say instead of it's very good. With sincerity, to let you know something is very good. Let's look at the top 5 movies of 2014. At number 5 is The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. Part 1. You know how I feel about movies that are Part 1. This is normally the last entry in a series or a trilogy where they're trying to keep it a trilogy, but they go, oh, how about Part 1 and 2? Anyway, I've spoken at length about this. I'm not going to bore you with it again. Please see previous podcasts. Number 4 is Maleficent, where Angelina Jolie plays pure evil, but still not as much of a villain as when she stole Brad from Jen. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a awesome movie. It's choice of soundtrack and aesthetic and style and tone is just brash and unapologetic and perfect for it. But also, it was a huge gamble for the MCU at the time to have established themselves with all the movies and then kind of cemented their place with the Avengers, and there's kind of starting to bring out the Phase 2 movies like Iron Man 3 and Thor 2. And then they just go, what if we introduce a new band of heroes who are a ragtag team of thieves in space? And everyone, I'm sure some people would have gone, what are you talking? What are you doing? You're going to ruin this. You're going to derail this gravy train. But they did it and nailed it. Pulled it off. Well done, James Gunn. It's one of the best movies in the MCU. Still holds up today. Go check it out. At number 2 is The Hobbit and the battle for Peter Jackson's integrity. Never watched this Hobbit trilogy. Never will. Because it's just a shameless cash grab. Again, I would happily sell out any day. But Peter Jackson, you made the Lord of the Rings trilogy arguably the best movie trilogy in history. You could have sat on your throne, but then you came toppling down and decided to put your snout in the trough for a little bit more money and turn The Hobbit into a goddamn trilogy. Ugh. And at number 4 is... sorry, not number 4. At number 1 is Transformers: Age of Extinction. This is the one with Mark Wahlberg instead of Shia LaBeouf because Shia LaBeouf went crazy. And the franchise said, let's get rid of this guy. Who can we get? Mark Wahlberg? Perfect. Make it. Top 5, I mean, pretty, apart from Guardians of the Galaxy, pretty uninspired, if you ask me. But there are other great movies this year. Do not despair. Great movies this year. Things like Captain America, The Winter Soldier, which is just, after the disappointment of Thor 2, Captain America 2, absolute banger. It's crazy. It's a lovely... It's a damn well done espionage movie that progresses the story of Captain America. If Captain America was the early ones were who is he? Now it's like, who is he in this modern world, right? In this man out of time going up against a futuristic algorithm that goes against his character completely, and how does he handle that as Shield? The people that are supposed to guide him and comfort him and guide and comfort him. That's not his mother. The people that he's working for become his biggest enemies. It's say it with me. It's very good. Check it out. And also, Sebastian Stan is the Winter Soldier. Yes, it's grounded. It's at one point it's a knife fight, which I love seeing in a Marvel movie. A knife fight. And you worry, Captain America, don't get stabbed. Where other movies are like, oh, this energy beam will destroy all the world and the universe is beyond. No, in this one, knife fight. Don't get stabbed. Love it. Also this year, Nightcrawler. If you haven't seen Nightcrawler, it's Jake Gyllenhaal giving the most chilling performance of a video journalist catching, being the first on a scene of crimes and accidents in LA. And he's a psychopath. Christian Bale did American Psycho very well. This is the next one up. Hell, I think it's on par with Christian Bale's American Psycho. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. He is terrifying, but that real psychopath, softly spoken terrifying, where he's telling you his logic and he's not pausing, and you're like, this isn't quite human. Is there a robot under there? Say it with me. Very good. I gotta stop saying that. Okay. Edge of Tomorrow comes out in 2014 it's bonkers. It's nuts. It shouldn't work. This movie, I think, was let down by its marketing because a lot of people actually don't know about it or have never heard about it. Edge of Tomorrow is a Tom Cruise movie. Stay with me. Tom Cruise, don't run away. It's Tom Cruise in a sci-fi movie that is Groundhog Day meets Aliens in this beautiful mashup with Emily Blunt. If you ever want to be hey, what if you use the powers of Groundhog Day to fight an alien invasion? This is it. In 2014, also Grand Budapest Hotel comes out. This is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. Often when I find myself in a hotel room or on a cruise where, they've got the movie channels and it's always a little bit limited. But this movie always seems to be on there. And I always just put it on in the background because it's a bit It's a bit like My Beautiful White Noise at this point, because I've seen it so many times. I kind of know it so well that just having it on in the background comforts me. And Ralph Fiennes in this is so funny. He steals the show because if you've seen it, he's this very articulate gentleman concierge that sometimes just spouts this real foul mouthed shit, and just the juxtaposition of being like so having such decorum, and then like you'll be quoting a poem and in the middle of it just being interrupted and go, oh shit. It's really funny. Birdman comes out this year, the Michael Keaton one, where it's all it gives you the illusion of like there's lots of like one single takes in this movie. It's not all one take, but it does long takes, which is always puts you in a bit more of a feeling when you're watching it. And the soundtrack is only drums. I think I only realized this the second time I watched it, but the soundtrack is only drums. That's it. And this movie is about how putting on a play in New York City will drive you crazy. And Edward Norton plays an actor in this, who is this, he's the hotshot actor in the play. And the way he talks and the way he is and how annoying he is, I've worked with actors like this. Like the way he just like believes his own shit doesn't stink. The way he's like, at one point in the movie, he says like, I just think, life, me on stage, that's easy. That's easy. It's life that's hard, But when I'm on there, that's what, I'm not acting up there, I'm like, fuck you. I hate you. Oh, he plays the perfect annoying actor. And I've known plenty of them. My movie of the year for 2014, it's very, very close. I was going to give it to John Wick. John Wick 1, yes, the one that started it all. And John Wick is people that took the tired and overdone action genre, they grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and shook it and said, look how much better it can be if you actually trained actors how to fight and built a lore around the world around assassins. But mainly, what if you actually trained actors how to fight and we can have like wide angles, uncut long takes with wide angles that actually show and give you the grand scope of what it's like to have excellent gun choreography and fight choreography. I'm not going to say it's very good. It was a breath of fresh air. It was so visceral and awesome to see, but yet seems so clean as well because you're using a wide shot. When people don't know how to fight, they use all these intricate shaky cam close cuts. And this was just like watching, it felt like, the first time you saw like Blu-ray, just like how smooth it looked. It was like that for action scenes. But my movie of the year, John Wick, it's so good, but a very close second. And also, they killed the dog. Do you know the bit on John Wick where you're like, oh shit. It's when they kill his dog. Because there's a rule in movies that if there's animals and they're cute little animals that belong to a hero, they don't die. They don't die. They're going to make it to the end of the movie somehow. They survive the fire. They survive the explosion. They floated on something down the river. They survive. But when they killed John Wick's dog, you were like, every one of these motherfuckers is dead. Every single one of you is dead. And, they could have called this dude who killed my dog. And, yeah, I don't know. Could have got more numbers. It's when they killed the dog. Shit's on. And also, Willem Dafoe has a great part in this. Willem Dafoe just deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award for everything he's done. For just being Willem Dafoe. Okay, movie of the year for me is Whiplash. With Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. The story of a drummer going to a music school in New York. And this movie is so good because it takes a simple question. Or a question that seems simple. Like a premise like, how far would you go to be the greatest? How much would you give to be the greatest? Right? It seems simple. Everyone just go, everything, whatever it takes. But then it starts twisting this question and subverting it and really bringing that into reality. Right? So people go, you'd give anything, right? But really, when you start thinking about, okay, are you giving your time? Are you giving your money? Your dedication? Those kind of seem to be what people think about when they think, give it everything. Would you sacrifice your relationships? Would you sacrifice your dignity? What about your sanity, your family? What on the other side, if you're teaching, how far can you push someone to realize their true potential before it goes too far, before it becomes abuse? And even if it is abuse, but it does bring out amazing talent, was it justified? And I think if you watch it and then ask yourself these questions, I think people would come up with a whole spread of different answers. Because I think people just have different ideas of sacrifice and success. And, you know, the line I always remember from this movie is, there are no two words in the English language more hurtful than good job. And it always haunts me. Like, I keep thinking about it. Those are movies. Okay, Times Person of the Year in 2014 is the Ebola fighters, the healthcare workers who helped stop the epidemic of the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Thank you very much, everyone. Otherwise, we could have been dealing with a pandemic rather than epidemic. Oh, jeez. Imagine if the pandemic had been Ebola. We'd be so fucked. Right. Also in 2013, I remember I was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I remember 2014 because this is the year that Robin Williams died. I remember the time we found out. I was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It was around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I was at a table with comedians and we were having a drink. And one of them just checked the news and just stopped our conversation. Just went, Robin Williams is dead. And we all couldn't believe it. We all pulled out our phones to verify because we couldn't quite believe him. And sure enough, we all looked at it and we all realized, like, shit, he's dead. And one of the comedians who was about to leave to go do a spot on a show, Alex Edelman, he was so affected by this. Like, we were actually drinking right outside the venue he was about to go on in. So I saw him kind of like just as he's about to go on, pretty much in the wings. And I was like, are you all right, bro? And he said that he met Robin Williams and he talked to him and he was just really not taking this death well. And I know celebrities die all the time, and I don't have a personal story. I never met Robin Williams. But the thing is, everyone kind of knew that he was special with comedians. And, a lot of people called him the funniest person in the world. And he killed himself. And I just think that's... It scares me. And I think it's a constant sobering reminder that some things could just never be enough. A bit like Philip Seymour Hoffman I was talking before. Like, he's got everything. He's nailing it. Still needs heroin. But Robin Williams wasn't maybe dealing with addiction, or he had before. But the point was, he was the funniest guy in the world, quote unquote, the funniest guy in the world. And it wasn't enough. And especially since we'd moved to the UK, there's, I have goals I wanted to achieve. I still do now. And I think every comedian does. And when you go through lows, as everyone does, right, or lows within the industry, you can look at these goals and they're your little light. You kind of think of like, okay, keep going, because man, if I could just have that, if I could just have this thing, if I could get a spot at that club, or if I could get this gig, or if I could get on this platform, get on TV, if I could have that one thing, I think I'd be happy. And it's a sobering reminder that if you have all that, you can have all that, like Robin Williams did. And you can still be depressed enough inside to kill yourself. And I think that's a really sobering reminder to stop and appreciate what you have. And it's always tragic. I can't watch his movies anymore the same way, with the same enjoyment, because he's got this beautifully magical charisma in these movies, but behind this beautiful twinkle in his eye and smile and jokes, and you realize that ultimately there was a man under there that was deeply unhappy. And it's terrifying in a way. I remember when I first went to Edinburgh, I went to go see Jim Jeffries because he was playing this big venue. I didn't know who he was. He was doing a show called Alcoholocaust, and he had a bit in there which was about your dreams. And he said, you can never have your dreams. Don't follow your dreams because you can't have them. Because he said, when I first became a comedian, I just wanted to do 5 minutes and make someone laugh. And I did that. And then I thought, fuck it, I want to get paid. And then I got that. And then I said, wow, I'm funnier than everyone else here. I should be headlining. And then I got that. And then I wanted to be on TV, and I got that. And now I've got all that. And now I want to be a movie star, and I'm not a movie star, and I want to kill myself. And I remember howling in my seat. I was laughing so hard. I was definitely crying. I was wiping out tears. I almost wet myself. I was laughing so hard at this. But then Robin Williams, 4 years later, would become the embodiment of that very premise. And it's still really heartbreaking. Anyway, a little reminder. You can have it all, and sometimes that isn't enough. So might as well just appreciate what you got. Juice, this got philosophical, didn't it? I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you don't know, I've got my special out on YouTube. It's called Difficult First Album. If you follow me on the socials, you can get it on there. Or if you just YouTube search Difficult First Album Comedy Special, you'll find me. Please check it out. It's a collection of my favorite comedy routines after doing comedy for so long. My favorite routines, and I put them all together in a special. Yeah, put them all together in one place. Anyway, thanks for listening. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.